Right, so since Hasbro decided to go with a simple repaint and no retooling whatsoever with their leader class Optimus Prime offering for Transformers The Last Night, I went for the higher price action figure, but in the end I think this one is actually worth every penny. So this is Calibur Optimus Prime, released for Takara Tomy's Transformers The Last Night movie figures. He's got a lot to offer, so yeah. It is another retooled Optimus Prime leader class figure from the released Takara Tomy Age of Extinction action figure, as I mentioned in the previous video review. It's got quite the tweaking, however, that really makes it worth every bang for your buck. So, with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging, first and foremost, as per sake of every single video review on this channel. So, here is Calibur Optimus Prime with a very nice picture of Optimus Prime wielding his Sword of Judgment, and that is an awesome picture. I love it. Up here you got a little bit of an exclusive item with this release. The first release would come with the Energon Sword. Unfortunately, you only get one. So there's Takara Tomy's name, Transformers going up to the top. Here on the side we've got Calibur Optimus Prime, Earth's greatest protector. There's your description. On to the back here. So pause the view and read it if you so choose, in any language that you so choose. So there's that. He's got a convertible face. He looks epic. He's got a big giant shield, and that's giving away the big feature of this figure, to tell you the truth. And there's his vehicle mode, which we'll look at in just a moment. And yeah, there's a Western Stars logo right there to let you know that this is a legit release. Let's bring in Optimus Prime here, or let's lower the camera so we can get a good look at Optimus Prime here. He looks good. I mean, what else can I really say? The chrome works on this one. This chrome, it's nowhere really to be found on the action figure in his robot mode. Everywhere that you think it would be, it's not, and it's in a safe location where you're not going to be messing around with the figure and getting your fingerprints all over it, and it's going to be like feet of Optimus Prime. No, nothing like that. So don't worry about scraping this up at all. This is some nice stuff, and it's going to stay nice. It looks really nice. He's even got the Western Star logo right there on the back of his truck, which is very accurate. On this side too of the trailer hitch, I love it. Very cool. We got an Autobot insignia right there for the hooded part of the grill. Unfortunately, it's a little bit sloppy work there. It's just, there's too much chrome going on here, and it's like, it just overtook the detail. It's not really present. I mean, it is there, it's just not there, if you know what I mean. Oh well, I mean, beggars can't be choosers, right? I mean, we got some more Autobot insignias right here, and these came out pretty clean, as you can see all the detail right there. They're right here as well. They're on all the wheels, as a matter of fact. Very nice. Love it. I even love that the Western Star logo here is actually decked out in the chrome as well. Just like the Age of Extinction release, it can be slotted in at the bottom here, where he's also got his Energon axe here that he used in the Dark of the Moon, I believe, when he took Megatron's head off at the end of the film. And then here's the exclusive sword, which is his blades that he was using in the trilogy. So pretty nice. Not really needed, but hey, it's a nice piece to have. Why not? But that's where it stores as well. So let's put him down for a moment, and let's take a look at this here. So, obviously, you got your set of instructions for Calibur Optimus Prime. You got some promotional stuff here, and between that, which you really can't see except from where my thumb's going up and down, is actually some information about the exclusive sword that this figure came with. So, that's basically it for all this. The instructions are okay. It's a lot better than what Hasbro would actually offer us. Still, it gets to the point when you get to the transformation, there seems to be some bits here and there that's actually missing from the instructions, and you know, it's to be expected. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's nowhere near the lines of Hasbro, and I do appreciate that. So, Optimus Prime rolls in this mode, as all rolling things should. He also has rubber tires, which I love it. But, you know, I've still got my Robots in Disguise Optimus Prime, and we know how old that figure is, and his tires are still intact. And I've messed around with that figure for quite a bit over the years, so it's amazing. I don't see these tires going anywhere for a long time. Anyway, with that said, let's go ahead and put him down again for a moment and do a great side-by-side comparisons with some figures. So here's Voyager class Hound, who tried to leave the screen, but not too bad of a size between these two, don't you think? Voyager figure, leader figure, these trucks scale just about right with each other, I'm assuming. So there's that. So there's Scorn compared to Optimus. Not too bad. Here's Megatron compared to Optimus. So this is the American release, which is basically the same thing for Takara Tomy compared to the Takara Tomy release of Optimus Prime and Leader scale. Yeah. It looks pretty good between these two. So there we go. Not much else to say here, so let's go ahead and get this big boy transformed. And when I say big, yeah, he's big indeed, which means I'm gonna have to readjust my camera when I get done here. But anyway, let's do this. Go ahead and basically at this point you can take all this off, and this is the special charm with this figure, because if it wasn't spoiled on the back of his packaging, the whole back section of his cab actually transforms into a epic shield, which I'm gonna have some things to say about this in a little bit, so we're just gonna put that aside for now because we're not ready to transform that into the shield. Let's go ahead and get Optimus Prime all situated. So and bada bing, bada boom, there he is. There's Optimus Prime, or Calibur Optimus Prime in his robot mode, and he is pretty tall, so it's gonna be a little difficult to get him all on camera, but I'm gonna try my best. So, here he is. Awesome. I mean, what else can I say? I mean, if you've seen the retail release of the Leader Class Optimus Prime, you can tell there's like a night and day comparisons, absolutely. I mean, wow, the results really just pay off on this one. I mean, he is freaking sweet. I love this version of Optimus Prime. I love the night aesthetic to this guy, but more than that, I love Takara Tomy's release of this figure. He's so freaking cool. He's got his accurate feet, he's got his accurate designs on his arms. I mean, the chest work going on here, I mean, the detail is so enriched on this. The metallic blue, the shimmer goes all across. The gold plating on the chest and the knee joints. It's just, everything about this figure, it just makes the American release just atrocious and feel more like a cheap knockoff action figure compared to this. This is what we would have gotten back in the early 2000s from Hasbro, but now Takara Tomy, I mean, they haven't changed their formula one bit. Sure, some figures they'll actually just copy and paste, like their Leader Class Megatron. Again, one the same with the Hasbro release, but this here, this is an achievement. This is something that is well worth picking up if you really can afford it. He's not cheap at all. He's got a little bit of a price tag on him, but he is so worth it. So freaking awesome. I'm glad to have this one. Having said that, however, let's get to the problem I've got with this figure. And I get it. The way that they actually executed this design to work with the figure and all, because he would have had a giant backpack that just really would have made this figure quite a kibble mess in the back. You just have a giant backpack on him, so Takara Tomy fixed that problem, but with it they also created another problem. So let's go ahead and transform this shield. Fold this down like so. Then we can take all this, and it's on a double hinge here. You want to get it to come down like so. Like this. Twist it in like so. Then take these parts right here that I'm grabbing, these copper parts, and pull them out just a little bit. Twist like so. Make sure this is all lined up just right, and there we go. There's his Cybertronian shield. It's heavy, it's durable, which is nice, and that's about it. Because once you go and when you take this thing and apply it to Optimus Prime as instructed, it becomes a nightmare for this figure. I mean, yes, he holds it just fine. This isn't something that will really make him topple over, which is very nice, and it looks cool on him. It just completes the assembly of this figure, especially when he's wielding his sword, which I'll get him to do in just a moment if I can get him to stand up. He's now making me look like a liar here, but trust me, I've put him in so many poses where he's holding this shield just fine, but that's just it. The shield creates a little bit of some controversy going on here with his arm movement. It limits his movement because of how big it is. You really can't get it in any other position. You can't actually hold it down just right like a normal shield because it doesn't have any it doesn't have a handle piece, unfortunately. This is actually for Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime, which is quite surprising actually, but for what it is, it's not too bad. Still though, it's something that you can just put aside because it's really not needed. So let's go ahead and give him his sword here, which the Sword of Judgment looks so amazing. It's finally movie accurate, from the paintwork to the reds to the metallic blue to the silver. It's just, it looks good, especially with all the detail here. I'm just loving this. So you can either slide it in his hands, or there's actually a little hole here which you can actually tab it in to his hand like so, and he holds it pretty good. I mean, that's a strong grip. It's not going anywhere, which is amazing. And yes, I have gotten this figure to actually hold it with both hands, so that's very, very nice. This sword, on the other hand, it might be just a little too thick for his hands to actually wield across completely. I had to actually shape this down just a little bit on the inside because I was running the risk of breaking his fingers off, to tell you the truth. But I mean, it still works just fine, but as you can see, it just doesn't hold it too good. And unfortunately, it can't actually be tabbed in either from the side, just like in the movies, how he would actually have it on his forearms. Can't do that. So this is really kind of useless, to tell you the truth. It's nice and I do appreciate it, but it doesn't have any purpose outside of just being an extra piece that can't do anything. I mean, as you can see, it's actually got the slot there to actually be held in his hands, but it just doesn't fit, unfortunately. Maybe it's just my release. Your results might be different. He can actually hold his axe as well, which is very nice. So there we go. It also has a couple of slots on the side here, at the bottom, at the top here, where it can actually be slotted into his hands, or you can just grip it anywhere you want because he holds it pretty secure no matter which way you have it. So that's very nice. He also has weapon storage, which is also nice. So just tab it in right here, give it a good twist, and there we go. So now he's got his axe in storage. You can do the same thing for his Sword of Judgment here. Just like on the leader class figure from Hasbro, you can slide it in like so. And there we go. Now he's got weapon storage for those. But it also makes me wonder where this is gonna go. So here's what I do. Whenever I've got my Optimus Prime figure wielding the Sword of Judgment, I will take his original sword and I will just slide it in place. So there we go. So there, now he's got weapon storage for everything except for this giant shield. Right, quick jump cut. Forgot to show off, now I'm sure a lot of people were wondering. The shield. We already know that this is a little bit of an inconvenience, but when it comes to weapon storage, like I showed off with all his weapons, can the shield actually be stored on the back? Well, as you can see, you got the hole here, you got your giant peg, and you can, but the thing is, you gotta make a little room, because if you don't, then everything just knocks up against it and it won't tab in just right. So you can at least have his axe there, or at least the sword. You can't have both, okay? You cannot have your cake and eat it too. So that's the only way to really get it to store back here. And yes, it does cause stability issues, but thankfully Optimus Prime does have the heels for it. As you can see, that's quite a bit of support there. So if you wanted to make him look like the American release, you can. It's an option. So let's go ahead and just complete the look, just because, if I can get his shoulder pad out of the way. So there he is, Calibur Optimus Prime in all its glory. Why are you giving me a hard time here? He was standing just fine. But yeah, as you can see, it's a big mess, but it's a guilty pleasure. It really is. Still though, the shield you can just toss aside. It's a nice shield, but it's just way too much for this figure. He looks good without it. It's a really, really cool Optimus Prime figure that I so wanted to add to my collection, especially since Hasbro let me down. And that's not to say Hasbro hasn't given us anything good this year with their last night releases. They've given us some really cool action figures, especially Leader Megatron. They just let us down by doing a simple copy and paste with the Leader class Optimus Prime. This is what we should have got, but we didn't. You know, granted, we wouldn't get this much paint application, but as it stands, this is what they should have done with their Optimus Prime. They should have gone with this mold instead. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to some other features on this Optimus Prime. Just like Megatron, he does have a battle mask, and then he also has a no battle mask feature. But it really takes some fingernails to really get in here, and you really gotta grip it pretty good in order to get that to flip up, because it is a tight connection. Rotate, bring back down, and make sure it's lined up just right, otherwise it will not tab back into place. Takes a little force, but there we go. There's Optimus Prime without his faceplate, and that looks good as well, except that this eye here is kind of lacking a little bit of paint, and that's just my release. Your results will be different. Yeah, Takara Tomy kind of skipped out there, unfortunately for me. Of course though, with every Optimus Prime action figure I own, he always has the faceplate, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it back because it's kind of a tradition here in this residence. So there we go. And all is well with the world again. Alright, so let's get to the articulation on him, because he's got quite a bit. He has a ball jointed head. He also has the feature of doing that just because, like a turtle do. There we go. Get those shoulders out, parts out of the way so we can get to the actual shoulders. We got some nice clicking joints here. With kind of a little bit of a drawback is the fact that the feature of the very tight ratcheting joints have way too much of a gap in between each click, and unfortunately there's no catching in the middle. So I mean, when you got his arms posing, I mean, you only have a few options, and that's a little bit of a drawback. Still though, not something to really cry home about. So we do have some really nice ratcheting joints here as well, so you can get a full 360 as long as you got nothing in the back. You got your upper elbow swivel joint that makes up for the fact that he really doesn't have a bicep swivel, so there we have that. He's also got single jointed elbows that are also on very nice ratcheting joints, which is the reason he can hold the shield just fine, actually. So you get 90 degrees of play. He also has additional wrist swivel, which the American release does not. He also has a hinge joint at the thumb. That's how he's able to get the weapons in and out of his hands just fine, and he can hold them pretty secure, so that's also cool. He also has waist swivel, which is something that it's not very common with Transformer figures because of transformation most of the time. His front plate gets out of the way so you can actually get to the legs, which you can get a full range of kicking. This much forward, that much back, because it does catch on the skirt piece. You do get inward and outward play, which is very nice on a very tight clicking system, might I add. Let's see if we can get a little bit of some JCVD going on here. Yeah, I'd say so. That's about legit. So, yep, you can do that. Optimus Prime has a swivel joint above his knee to make up for the thigh joint. He also has single jointed knees that does get 90 degrees of play. And the last portion of articulation comes at the feet with a hinge joint to allow up and down movement there. And there's also an ankle rocker pivot, which is always a plus. So yeah, Optimus Prime is loaded with articulation. He's loaded with paint apps. He's loaded with features. It just makes this figure so... Let's go ahead and do some side-by-side comparisons to wrap this up. So here's Scorn again in his Spinosaurus mode. So not too bad between these two, even though I'm sure the Dinobot would actually be a bit taller than Optimus Prime going by the movie standards, but for an action figure, I like it. And of course, what is the size comparisons without his arch nemesis, Megatron? So here's a look finally at these two next to each other. So as you can see, it is a knight and knight comparisons. I get it because they're both knights. Yeah, you don't get it? Oh, really? Oh, I thought that one would catch on. Maybe somebody might chuckle. I don't know. But I really do like both these figures. These both work as a pair. I don't know how I would be talking if this was actually the American release standing here instead of Calibur Optimus Prime. It would work, I guess, but again, if you can afford it, go for this one. As a matter of fact, while you're still watching this review, go to Amazon and purchase this figure. I think that's the cheapest that you can actually find him right now. I mean, I got mine off of eBay, but now the price has probably jumped on this guy because he is now targeted as a most desirable figure to come out of this line. I'm going to leave both figures here just to let you see them off. So with that said, if you enjoyed today's video review, hit that thumbs up button. If you thought it was too long, hit the thumbs down button. I'm sure that's why you would hate it anyway, so see what I did there? And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I said so, which I said I wasn't going to say so, but then again, I also said I wasn't going to transform the figures on camera anymore. See how much of a liar I am? No wonder I'm so unprofessional and no one really likes me. So, also hit that bell icon in order to see when I upload videos on this channel, because if you don't, you'll never know when. And until then, this is your King Red's Power signing off, saying thank you very much for watching this one, and I will see you whenever you see me.